All right, today we're cracking open an investigative file on a place you would not want to visit. We're talking about a single, isolated village, but this isn't your average ghost story. No, this place is plagued by multiple, terrifying supernatural events that, on the surface, don't seem connected at all. And it all kicks off with this one single warning. So there it is. No matter what happens, stay away from even a drop of the rain. Imagine hearing that from your friend in a total panic. This was a message passed from one teenager to another way back in 1996. And this cryptic little warning, it's the key to our very first case file, which is all about something you'd think is totally harmless, the weather. Okay, so let's open up case file number 1, the blood rain. The locals actually call it Kuni Barish, and believe me, this isn't just a weird weather event. It seems to be the very heart of this village's oldest and, frankly, most terrifying curse. Let's set the scene. It's 1996. You've got this 15-year-old kid, Adarsh, who gets stuck after school when a big storm rolls in. Out of nowhere, his friend Nitin runs up to him, completely freaking out, and says he has to get home and whatever he does, stay out of the rain. Then Nitin just bolts. A few minutes later, the rain starts, but something's wrong. Adarsh watches in total horror as the drops turn from clear to a horrifying dark red. It's literally raining blood. And through this downpour, he sees a figure with an umbrella, walking. Weird. Kind of like a wolf trying to walk on 2 legs. Then a flash of lightning hits, and he sees it for what it is, a terrifying werewolf. So Adarsh, completely terrified, hides. And from where he's watching, he sees another guy get caught out in the open. But here's the truly messed up part. The werewolf doesn't even go near him. It doesn't have to. The man just gets drenched in this blood rain and starts screaming. He just withers away, like all the moisture's being sucked right out of his body. He literally just dries up and collapses into this shriveled husk. The rain did it all. Okay, so let's be clear about what we're dealing with. This Kuni Barish or blood rain isn't just spooky red water. It's basically a supernatural weapon. Any living thing it touches, it starts to rapidly drain their blood, their bodily fluids, everything. It's an active curse. And you gotta ask, right? Where does all that stolen life force go? Well, it has to go somewhere. So the next day, Adarsh, probably still in shock, goes to check on his friend Nitin. And that's when he gets the absolute worst news. Nitin, the same kid who warned him to stay out of the rain, he didn't make it home in time. He got caught in it. He was another victim. And it's this horrible personal loss that pushes Adarsh to find out why this is happening. And just like that, this awful tragedy becomes the key that unlocks the whole story. We're about to go from this one terrifying night to the deep, dark history behind this entire village's nightmare. Because Adarsh, desperate for answers, goes to Nitin's grandmother and just begs her to tell him what's going on. And boy, does she have a story to tell. It goes back 150 years. It all started with this horrific famine that nearly wiped the village out. And there was this powerful and very angry tantric who held a grudge against the villagers. He decided this was the perfect time for revenge. So he unleashes his servant, who just so happens to be a werewolf disguised as a human. This creature is the source of the blood rain curse. And here's the kicker, the part that makes it so much worse: the rain doesn't just kill people, it feeds the werewolf. All that life force drained from the victims, it goes straight to the creature, making it stronger and stronger with every single death. You'd think the story ends there, right? Adarsh and his family got the hell out of that village and never looked back. But no. Fast forward 20 years. Adarsh is an adult now, he's in a car with his wife, and they have a new driver they just hired the day before. The driver takes them down this weird, unfamiliar road, and you can probably guess what happens next. The sky gets dark, the blood rain starts, and the driver turns to look at them. And it's the werewolf. It hasn't aged a day in 20 years. It had been hunting Adarsh this whole time, and it finally lured him into a trap. So that's a complete horror story right there. The werewolf, the curse, it's terrifying. But as we dug deeper into the reports from this village, we realized something. The werewolf might not have been the only thing out there, which leads us to a really chilling question. What if there was more than one demon hunting in that village? And that brings us right to our second case file. This one details a totally different kind of horror. Something a lot more hands-on. They call this one the Headless Man. So, meet Pyle and Danish. They're a couple, They're driving home late one night, and they do what we all do sometimes. They take a shortcut. Of course, this shortcut is a dusty, unpaved road that runs straight through, you guessed it, that same cursed village. They're driving along, and Danish happens to glance in the rearview mirror, and his heart just stops. There's a figure back there, running, but it's keeping up with the car, like easily keeping up. It's a tall man carrying a big, shiny axe, and he has no head. So Danish does the only thing you can do. He floors it. He's trying to outrun this impossible thing. For a second, it vanishes from the mirror, and he thinks maybe he lost it. But then there's this massive thud on the roof of the car. It landed on them. It slides down onto the hood, and that's when Payal finally sees it and just screams, "This road will kill us." Now, you have to understand how this creature hunts. It has no eyes, no ears. It's totally blind and deaf. It finds its victims by sensing their movement, the vibrations. So Danish, in a total panic, decides to ditch the car and make a run for it. But the second he does, he's basically lit himself up like a Christmas tree for this thing. The creature is on him in a second, chases him into a field, and with one swing of that axe, it's over. He's beheaded. Payal is watching all of this from the car, just completely frozen in terror. She just saw her husband get murdered. But what happens next? This is the detail that takes this from a monster story to something deeply, deeply disturbing. The creature wasn't done yet. She sees the headless body walk over, kneel down, and pick up Danish's head. And then it places the head right on its own shoulders. The goal wasn't just to kill him, it wanted his head. And in that moment, while the creature is distracted, Payal slams the car into reverse and just gets out of there. So that brings us to the end of our investigation and the central mystery of this whole thing. We have two totally credible stories about two completely different supernatural monsters, and they're both hunting in the exact same tiny area. What in the world is going on here? And this really breaks down the problem, doesn't it? You've got the werewolf. It's ancient, 150 years old at least. It kills from a distance with cursed rain, all to get stronger. Then you have the headless man. He's, relatively new on the scene, maybe 15 years. He's a physical killer, uses an axe, and his goal is to steal a new head. They have nothing in common, different origins, methods, and motives. So when you put it all together, the conclusion is pretty clear and pretty terrifying. This village isn't just haunted. It's not some place with a ghost story. It's an active hunting ground, and it's shockingly efficient at what it does, with more than one predator on the prowl. And that leaves us with one last, really unsettling question. Are we talking about two separate demons that just happen to share the same turf, or, and this is a much scarier thought, are we actually looking at two different faces, two different forms of the same ancient evil that has claimed this village as its own? And that, right there, is a question this investigation just can't answer.